back to Beast Wars. It's been a while, and we'll actually be going back to late in the first season. So none of that stuff that you've been seeing, which I won't say in case of spoiler issues. None of the post-season 1 changes have happened yet. That's all I'm going to say. And if you think mentioning that's a spoiler, the original cartoon had changes from season to season, so it's to be expected. As much as expected as the treachery of Starscream, which coincidentally, we're about to see. Oh, we don't see him very clearly, of course. This is just his spark, his ghost flying through space. Not tumbling because, as Cyclotus pointed out, ghosts don't tumble through space. Appropriate to the situation, there's lightning crackling all about the Maximal ship. Now we just need one of them to howl at the moon, and then the atmosphere for the ghost story will be complete. Hey, wait a second. If you're a robot, and you transform into a wolf, are you a werewolf? Or is that just not covered because transforming is to be expected? This shit is deep. I gotta sit down and think about this. Over at the Predacon base, the ship reacts to the storm and throws Waspinator across the room. Because who else is it supposed to throw when it gets mad, huh? And the Maximals are busy packing things away.
That's the last of it.
Yo, audio up, fellas!
Audio up, phallus? Are they having somebody try to pick up transmissions using their robo-dicks? He lets them know that the blast was so powerful it did some damage and knocked out the security system for that area. So there's a bit of an issue in keeping the Predacons out. Meanwhile, Waspinator's having problems. Well, I suppose that's a statement that demands it be narrowed down. He can't get the computer to work, and it's because Starscream is in there. But, not for long. He quickly takes control of Waspinator's body.
So there you are!
Yes, here I am, at very long last!
What happened to your voice?
Allow me to present myself. Air Commander Starscream of the Decepticon Battle Fleet!
Yep, Starscream is up to the old possession game again, as the title implies. And it works easily for him because, of course, possession is 9/10 of the law. Hey, come on, don't groan at that one. I resisted the urge to say that Scourge had been repossessed, so give me a little credit here. The question has been raised about this, since when we last saw him, Starscream was very much alive. But there's a number of possibilities. One, because Starscream mentions that his mutant spark is unbound by time, this could be before he even met Octane. It could also be that Galvatron finished killing him again, or that Unicron did so as vengeance for Starscream's betrayal. Or simply that, at some point, Starscream died again for whatever reason. He is a bit of an asshole. It wouldn't surprise me if somebody would finally have had enough of him. Black Arachnia and Megatron confirm what had been previously implied, that the Autobots were the Maximal's predecessors, and the Decepticons that of the Predacons. As for Starscream, he claims that he died protecting Galvatron from Unicron, at which Megatron has the, it sounds like bullshit to me, chin rub going on, and asks Starscream his angle. Starscream says it's to serve Megatron, so we know that's more lies, but he does know how to breach the damaged Maximal ship. I'm guessing the damaged part. Cheetor spots a Predacon drone and reports in, so all the Maximals go to defend their vulnerable side, but that's what Starscream was actually expecting. He leads others in an attack on the other side, catching the Maximals by surprise, almost as much as the knowledge that Starscream is in command of Waspinator's body. Optimus orders a withdrawal, although the great and mighty Terrorsaur is blocking the exit.
Maximum burn!
Just kidding, he's only proof that even the air can have speed bumps. But while the Maximals have been driven off, Tarantulas points out that their own base is now unprotected. But Megatron plans to have both. Starscream, Black Arachnia, and Scorponok are going to stay here, the rest of them then returning to the Predacon base, leaving the Maximals with no headquarters from which to regroup, repair, rearm, anything. Really. All they can do is sit in the woods while Optimus looks Dinobot over and Cheetor and Rat Trap complain. Admittedly, they have a lot to complain about. It's not every day that you lose your home to a dead guy. Now, this part requires some spoilers, those of you who are concerned about that kind of thing. Optimus Primal laments about Waspinator either being possessed or thinking that he is possessed by Starscream. But the problem is he doesn't know his enemy because the files on Starscream are classified. Now you may recall Rampage, the freak that they were transporting with the spark that was based upon Starscream's own mutant one. Well, it would make sense that Primal would, on the one hand, know Starscream's name because of that, and also why he would know that this was classified. Only knowing enough to know what weirdness that he's dealing with, the strictly need-to-know stuff, but that's it. Luckily for them, though, Dinobot's a student of military history and knows Starscream for the self-serving traitor that he is. So does Black Arachnia, who in private calls Starscream out on lying about dying valiantly to save Galvatron, but she's just letting him know that she knows what's up. She has no love for their leader either.
Greed and self-interest, eh? Excellent! I believe I discern a protege!
Hey, watch the hand, Starscream. This ain't the 80s anymore. You can't get away with grabbing a rear fender. Meanwhile, the Maximals close in. Optimus checks around him to see if he can get away with throwing poop at the Predacons, and then decides the time just isn't right. He calls out Starscream to surrender. Their surrender, not his, although Starscream is usually up for that. This is just an act, though. Dinobot is supposed to be dying without the equipment that's on board there. So they are willing to surrender if they'll let him in so that Dinobot will live. Starscream accepts their conditions, but he has Optimus locked up as a hostage to ensure that the other Maximals will obey his commands, starting with attacking the Predacon base. Of course, Scorponok doesn't approve.
Treachery!
But that has never been an obstacle for anything. What Starscream doesn't know is that cache of weapons that was stored down below at the beginning. So as Optimus escapes his bonds, he's now free to arm himself and Dinobot, driving the two Predacons out of the base, while the others are sneaking very, very carefully into the Predacon base so as not to be noticed. All right, I've got a long-shot idea. Put on your barbershop quartet hat and start tap dancing. Now, like your life depends upon it. Rhinox orders everyone to fall back to safety, but Starscream is cheesed off at their cowardice. The irony. Optimus arrives and beats the living crap out of Starscream, and when he gets near Energon, Black Arachnia proceeds to set it off. The betrayer is now the betrayed. In fact, Black Arachnia tells Megatron that was the plan all along, to learn Starscream's secret in case he was planning something, which, of course, he was. As for Starscream, he's had enough and takes off, and we listen to him rant as he floats through the void, which makes no sense, because in space, no one can hear Starscream. I stand by that one, too. Of course, Starscream was only a tenant, meaning that all this really happened to...
No, Waspinator has a headache in his whole body.
The problem with possession is that the idea of it is so much better than what the actual episode is. I mean, on the one hand, Starscream's inclusion is a treat. The decision to possess Waspinator allows that character to appear prominently without it intruding on what we expect from the character. But at the same time, this one-off's enjoyment is offset by the uninspired use of Starscream. In Starscream's Ghost, he was out for revenge. In Ghost in the Machine, he was out for a new body. In Possession, he wants to take over the Predacons, apparently. But to what end? And why not just take over Megatron, then, if that was his goal? It's a rather surprising turn, but Beast Wars is usually strong on character and plot lines. Yet in this case, the original cartoon did a much better job, and in the hit-or-miss Season 3, no less. This episode is enjoyable, but in the end, it's only really notable for the presence of a character whom they grossly underutilized.
Starscream? How come he gets promoted?